Hi, folks, in the Cobb TV studio for our weekly visit with Cobb County Commission Chairman Mike Boyce. And we start this visit on somewhat of a somber note. We have a funeral to attend.
Yeah, it's not somewhat, it is. Last Friday night, we lost one of our finest, Officer Anthony Pereira, who passed away from medical issues that, for reasons that we'll just leave with his parents. But he represents what's best, not just about this county, but it's about America. He was a Marine veteran, did 2 tours in Afghanistan, I believe, and then still felt committed to serve after he got out and became a police officer here. And so we mourn him. We express our deepest condolences and sympathies to his family and to his friends. I'll be going out this afternoon to the visitation, deliver a personal message to his parents, and then tomorrow at the services, the county represented. So we're sad to see him go, but I think that if he was here, right, he'd say, I served as best I could. I represent what's best about America and Cobb County. We'll miss him, but he leaves a long legacy, and he will not be forgotten anytime soon.
And I know you're a military veteran, obviously, a Marine colonel, but you've done dozens of ride-alongs with our law enforcement,
Right.
and you know how something like this really affects that larger family.
Yeah, it's a shock, because, first of all, he was very young. I believe he was, under 30. Mm-hmm. He leaves behind a daughter, so he's a father. And you think you prepare yourself for these kind of things, but you don't. It happens when it happens. There are just lots of questions, but it also goes to tell you what's really important in this world, how every day counts, and how we need to take care of each other. And I was really, really impressed that the band of brothers and sisters gathered around Precinct 4, where he served, and filled in for them while they went about doing their best to support his family and to take care of the needs surrounding that.
And I've seen a lot of things shared from the public about him, where he was with them in a difficult time,
sure.
and comforted them in a difficult situation. That gives you a perspective on how these police officers really get thrust into people's lives, often at their worst time.
I couldn't say it better. I just wish you could see what these young men and women do in their off-duty time. And while they're the comments I'm getting about, stopped the other day and they just want, they want to say something about my car, and they couldn't have been nicer. And he just exemplified that. They're just amazing. We are so blessed to have people like Officer Pereira and everyone that wears a badge in this county and supports them. So he knows that his message will be well done, good and faithful servant, and in the best of ways.
And we wish the family the best.
Yes, we do.
On another topic, as we sit here and tape this, we're 14 town halls through your 16 town hall tour. And what have you taken out of the 14?
We need to do a lot more.
All right, stop taping it then.
It's interesting. It's obviously those who've gone to the town halls. It's a lot different than last year. The issues that brought the people to the town halls this year were addressed last year, and by the vote of those who supported the millage rate, I believe the people are seeing that we're delivering those services as we promised. This effort to restore services is well on its way. They understand that this is a 5-year process, and it's going to take time to bring back all that we had before we lost during the recession, but also address the concerns that have emerged as a consequence of what's happened, almost 9 years now after the recession started. It's providing opportunities that I'm going to be able to take to the board and what I'm hearing, both for current agenda items and perhaps in the 2022 SPLOST. So the thing here is that I'm trying to let people know that I know you're busy right now. I know you're living in the best of times. I don't think economically, with regard to prosperity, Cobb has ever been better. And I was telling somebody last night that when we were in West Cobb, that I walked around the parking lot outside the West Cobb Senior Center. There's a number of baseball fields and sports fields around there, and I counted over 250 cars in the parking lot. And while I'd like to have seen them there at the town hall, what that really tells me is that people are enjoying their lives. And I've said this a lot of times. If nobody ever knows the name of any county official, including your elected officials, that's kind of a compliment to us because that means we're doing our job and we're leaving you alone. And last night, what I saw both at the recreation field, but also over the 14 town halls, is that I think people are confident about their government, that they know that we're working for their best interest, that there are challenges out there, but they know that if they let this process do its thing, this budget process do its thing, they will come to the board at the appropriate time. And so in July, when we vote on the millage rate and we vote on the budget, it'll have had a full airing and it'll be an informed decision. But it's also a reminder that I'm deeply committed this year, as I said last year, no millage rate from Mike Boyce. We do not need the millage rate increase. We have additional funding requirements out there, but the existing millage rate they gave us last summer, plus new revenue from Tax Digest, should allow us to fit this into the 5-year plan. And when we come out at the end of 5 years, we will be back to not only where we were before, but even better.
And you showed a chart during the town halls that we can show viewers here too of your priorities. The top one included a pay raise for employees.
Yes, correct. They've not had one over 5 years, but the new millage rate last year that we approved last year allows us a lot more flexibility. So what I try to tell people is that if we had not approved that millage rate, that chart would have been non-existent. All right? We would not be having the same discussion this summer if we had not gotten the new millage rate. It gives us a lot more opportunities and options there. And with that, that allows us to do some things that we have not done in the past. But I cannot be more emphatic that without the millage rate last summer, I would be very, very concerned about going back to New York to visit our raters this year, because we would not have addressed those problems that they were very concerned about, and they would have jeopardized our AAA rating. But I think I'm very confident right now that we have covered all those concerns.
We somewhat joked about you doing 16 meetings, but these town halls kind of dovetail into another long series of meetings about the comprehensive transportation plan.
Right.
So how do the two work together?
Yeah, there'll be 9 of those, and I think this is a good time to talk. As we know, the vote in Gwinnett went against them joining MARTA, and look, that result's going to have an impact over here. It gives voice to those who have a concern about, do we in fact want to expand our transit options here? And my answer is, I don't know, because the process is just beginning. Lots of people have opinions right now, but I like to deal with facts. And the facts that I'm going to deal with are what I'm going to hear from the various public hearings and town halls over the next 2 to 2.5 years to address the very issues of transit and transportation. What I hope to achieve by this process is that everything that we do that's going to show up at a referendum is a result of what we hear out in the town halls and the public hearings. It makes no sense to go through this whole process, put it on a referendum, then it's defeated, because that what tells me is we didn't listen to the voters. So the only way we can listen to the voters is to give them time to look at all, to have input into the process, come back with a proposed project list, make sure they vet it and validate it, and then go back and put it on the referendum. And that just takes time. There's 750,000 people in this county, and of which 300,000 of them vote. And we're not going to be addressing these problems overnight, not even over a year. It's going to take a long time. We just got to be patient. I believe in the process, and in so doing, when we come out to vote on the referendum, if we in fact and choose that's what we want to do, it'll be something that everyone will say, of course we're going to have a referendum, of course we're going to support it, because those are our ideas. That's what I hope to achieve here.
And the vote in Gwinnett was to join MARTA. The vote voters here may eventually be tasked with probably does not involve
It may not. It may not. We may be, there's a lot of things on the table right now. As the survey showed, there is sentiment. I'll be very careful about using that word. There is sentiment for increased taxes to support additional transit and transportation projects. MARTA did have a favorable impression, a majority favorable impression, but that's just one of many things that came out of the study. I know that MARTA sells headlines, but to me, MARTA is not the issue. The real issue is, what is it that we want to do to offset the increasing traffic problems we have in the county? That's the issue right now. And I've said this many times, I do not need another traffic study to tell me we have traffic problems in Cobb County. The challenge is that taking the sentiment from what we're hearing from the public, and then with our leadership, bringing it into a way that we shape it into projects that we know they're going to support. Because it's one thing to say you favor something, all right? And it's something else to say that you're willing to spend the money on it. There's a lot of great thinking about that, a lot of opinions out there, and the public hearings for the CTP, the Comprehensive Transportation Plan, that is going to be the forum that we're going to be using to get all that input.
And that will involve not just transit, but as you've said many times before, also transportation.
Sure,
projects.
absolutely. And just sort of a general description, transit involves things like buses and trains, all right? And transportation involves things like roads, synchronized lighting, intersection improvements, underpasses, overpasses, grade separation. There's a lot of litany of things. That's why I thought it was very important that during the town halls, when we talked about transportation, we started talking about terms that we're going to hear during the Comprehensive Transportation Plan revision. So we begin those next month. There'll be 9 of them in April and May. They'll all cover the same topics, because that's just to get us out the door, like these town halls that I've been doing this month, or get us out the door for the budget for the summer.
All right, well, in your newsletter and on our social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter, as well as YouTube, we'll have all the upcoming dates for the Comprehensive Transportation Plan meetings. Next week is town halls in Powder Springs.
That's it. That's the last 2.
For the last 2.
Next Thursday.
So stay tuned to all our methods of communications. Go on cobbcounty.org, sign up for the newsletters, and stay in touch with everything, because, as the chairman mentioned, it's an important process moving forward.
Right, and if you haven't had a chance to go to a town hall, we videoed one of the presentations, and it's on our homepage.
Yeah, cobbcounty.org. You can see that there. So
Thanks, Ross.
and we'll see you next week.
I'll be here.
All right.